Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into the top AI news for January 30, 2025. And by the way, this whole deep dive, researched and generated by AI, analyzing AI.
Wow.
We've got a Chinese startup turning heads, a huge GE investment that could reshape the entire industry, and the big question, are we ready to trust AI?
It's fascinating to see how all of today's stories connect. It's like watching a puzzle come together.
Let's jump right in. First up is DeepSeek. It's a Chinese startup, and they're making waves with their new AI model.
What's really caught everyone's attention is how quickly and cheaply they built it. 2 months. Under $6 million.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's a tiny fraction of what companies in the U.S. are spending.
That's incredible. Makes you wonder, are companies like Meta and Google overspending on AI?
It's definitely raising eyebrows. Some investors are worried about it. I mean, if DeepSeek can get similar results with way fewer resources.
It could be a real shift in the AI world.
Absolutely.
So speaking of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg talked about this during their earnings call. Did DeepSeek have him hitting the panic button?
Not even close. He actually doubled down on Meta's commitment to AI. They plan to invest, between $60 and $65 billion this year?
Really?
Yeah, sounds like he's thinking long term.
Bold move, especially with DeepSeek breathing down their neck.
Yeah.
What's his logic?
Well, he believes this is going to give Meta a real edge down the line. He also predicted that we'll eventually see a global open source standard in AI.
Interesting. That could really change the game.
Yeah.
More access for everyone.
Right.
But DeepSeek isn't the only one shaking things up. Alibaba, another Chinese giant, just unveiled their own AI model, and they're claiming it's even better.
They're calling it Qwen 2.5 Max. Their benchmarks show it outperforms DeepSeek v3, GPT-4o, and Llama 3.1.
Wow.
They're really going all in, saying it's as good as Anthropic's Claude 3.5 Sonnet.
The AI race is heating up.
Yeah.
Chinese companies are becoming big players.
No doubt.
But wait, because our next story is massive. Softbank is about to drop up to $25 billion on OpenAI.
The company behind ChatGPT?
Exactly.
That would make them the biggest investor, even bigger than Microsoft.
And what's interesting is that SoftBank is already pouring money into this huge AI infrastructure project called Stargate.
Right.
Tell me more about Stargate.
Well, it's this collaboration. OpenAI, Microsoft, Oracle, and of course Softbank. They're building these massive data centers, all to power AI.
Sounds ambitious.
The first one is already under construction in Texas. And get this, the whole project could be worth $500 billion.
$500 billion. That's insane. Shows you how seriously they're taking AI.
For sure. And all of this is happening after Elon Musk, he co-founded OpenAI, but he threw some shade, doubted that OpenAI could afford their part of the deal.
So you've got this giant project, some of the biggest tech companies involved, and then Musk questioning if it'll even work.
Yeah. Really shows the financial stakes and the complexities of building the future of AI.
Absolutely. So with all these advancements, all this money, it makes you wonder, do we actually trust AI?
That's the million-dollar question. A new study from the University of Kansas suggests maybe not. People are more skeptical of news articles if they think AI wrote them.
So even if the article is perfectly fine, people just don't believe it because a machine was involved.
Pretty much. The study found that just mentioning AI made people less trusting. Didn't matter how much AI was actually used.
Wow. That's really something. It's like there's this underlying fear of AI's growing influence.
Right. Especially when it comes to understanding the world around us.
It's a fascinating problem, and we'll likely be facing it even more as AI keeps evolving. But even now, AI is changing how we consume and produce news.
Definitely. There's this article about how generative AI can be used to sort through huge amounts of documents, like scientific papers, financial reports, all kinds of stuff to flag the ones that are newsworthy.
That would be huge for investigative journalists.
Absolutely. They often have to wade through tons of information. AI could be a real game changer.
It could be. But even with all that potential, there's still the question of trust.
Yeah, it's a conversation we need to keep having, especially as AI plays a bigger role in news.
It's amazing to think about how much AI is being used right now. We've talked about AI development and its impact on news. But AI is making waves in advertising too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's being used to create those personalized ads, the ones that seem to know exactly what you're interested in.
Yeah. How does that even work?
AI analyzes tons of data. It figures out consumer behavior, tries to predict what you're going to want next.
So instead of those generic ads, AI helps them show us stuff we actually care about.
Exactly. It makes advertising campaigns way more efficient. And we might see fewer annoying ads because they're more tailored to our preferences.
Sounds like everyone wins.
Yeah.
But are there any concerns about AI being used in advertising?
Well, there are always concerns about data privacy. How is AI collecting our information? What are they doing with it?
Yeah, it seems like there's always a trade-off with AI.
Yeah.
Convenience and personalization on one side,
Mm.
and privacy on the other.
It's a tough balance to find. And privacy isn't the only concern. There's also the issue of algorithmic bias.
Algorithmic what?
Bias. Basically, AI systems might inherit the biases that already exist in society and reflect those biases in their decisions.
So an AI system for advertising could end up targeting people unfairly based on things like race or gender.
That's the worry. It's something we have to be really careful about. As AI gets more and more integrated into our lives, we need to make sure these systems are fair, transparent, and not making things worse.
It's a lot to consider. So let's switch gears a bit. Talk about how AI is being used to improve government services.
Yeah, government agencies are definitely getting on board with AI, trying to make their operations smoother, more efficient.
How so?
Well, they're using it for processing applications, answering questions from citizens, even detecting fraud.
So AI is helping governments streamline things, provide better service to citizens.
Exactly. AI can handle huge amounts of data, automate those repetitive tasks nobody likes, and help them make better decisions, decisions based on actual data.
It sounds like AI could revolutionize how governments work. But are there any potential downsides?
Of course. With governments using AI, we need to be extra careful about transparency and accountability. We need to be sure these systems are being used ethically, responsibly, and that citizens' rights are protected.
Makes sense. It seems like there's a theme running through all these stories. The potential of AI is huge, but we really need to think about the ethical side of things too.
I completely agree. As AI gets more sophisticated, we have to have these conversations, the tough questions, the different perspectives. We need to work together to shape an AI-powered future that works for everyone.
Well said. Okay, let's get back to that article we mentioned earlier. The one about generative AI identifying newsworthy documents. Sounds like a real game changer for journalists.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine being able to instantly sift through mountains of research papers, financial reports, legal documents, and have AI point you to the ones that matter most.
It would be a huge time saver. They can focus on the actual reporting instead of getting lost in the research phase.
Right. And that article shows how it's already happening. The author experimented with different ways to prompt a generative AI to figure out how newsworthy those research abstracts were.
Cool. And what were the results? Could the AI actually pick out the good stuff?
The results were pretty amazing. There was a strong correlation between what the AI flagged and what human experts thought was newsworthy. It shows that AI could be a powerful tool for journalists, helping them discover stories that might have flown under the radar.
That's exciting. But we can't just take the AI's word for it, right?
Of course not. We still need human judgment and critical thinking. But this technology has the potential to free up journalists to do what they do best. Investigate, analyze, tell those compelling stories.
It's incredible to see how AI is transforming journalism. Makes me wonder what other industries are next.
It's hard to imagine an industry that won't be affected by AI in some way. Healthcare, transportation, education, you name it. AI has the potential to change everything. How we work, how we live, how we interact with the world.
It's both exciting and a bit scary to think about. But AI is no longer some futuristic dream. It's here, it's changing rapidly, and it's having a real impact on our lives.
That's so true. AI isn't science fiction anymore. It's weaving itself into our everyday lives
Oh.
and shaping the world in ways we're only beginning to grasp.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into today's top AI news, it's clear AI is everywhere. It's affecting nearly every industry. And it's raising some big questions about ethics, trust, and the future of humanity.
Couldn't agree more, and it's more important than ever to stay informed, to have these critical discussions, and to help shape the future of AI in a way that benefits everyone.
It really is amazing to think how fast everything's moving and how AI is becoming this, major force.
It is. Today's news really highlights just how much is happening, all these different aspects, and how quickly things are changing. We saw how DeepSeek, this relatively small startup, built a really powerful AI, and for way less money than the big company.
Yeah, definitely makes you think, do you really need those huge budgets to make progress in AI?
It challenges those assumptions, for sure. Innovation can come from anywhere. Makes you wonder how those giants like Meta and Google, how are they going to react?
Well, Zuckerberg doesn't seem worried. He's pouring billions into AI.
Right, like he's playing the long game, betting on AI being a huge part of Meta's future.
And then you've got Alibaba jumping in, showing off their own AI.
Right, Right, and the fact that both DeepSeek and Alibaba are Chinese companies, that's interesting.
It's not just the U.S. leading the AI race anymore.
Definitely a global competition. China's a major player now.
Absolutely. And of course, we can't forget about Softbank, that massive investment in OpenAI, and the Stargate project.
Yeah, those investments are huge. It tells you something AI is seen as a real game changer.
$500 billion for Stargate alone. It's insane. They clearly believe AI is going to drive innovation for years to come.
Right, and those investments in infrastructure, they're crucial. It's like they're laying the foundation for an AI-powered future.
But we can't just get caught up in the excitement, all those investments. We have to think about the ethics.
Exactly. That study about people not trusting AI-written news, that's a wake-up call. Trust and transparency are absolutely essential.
Totally. We have to make sure AI algorithms aren't biased, that they're
Yeah.
used responsibly.
Right. We have to be aware of the downsides, the impact on jobs, privacy concerns, even the possibility of malicious use.
Yeah, there's so many things to consider.
It's a complex problem, no easy answers. But it's a conversation we need to have as a society, as AI becomes more and more a part of our lives.
It's not just about avoiding the risks, though, right? We have to think about how AI can actually help us.
Exactly. AI has so much potential. It could revolutionize healthcare, education, even how we deal with climate change. The key is to use it for good. Be mindful of its limitations and avoid the pitfalls.
Well, today we've really gotten a glimpse into the world of AI. So dynamic, so fast-moving. We've seen how it's changing industries, driving global competition, and raising these big ethical questions.
Yeah, AI is not just a concept anymore. It's a force that's shaping our present and will definitely play an even bigger role in our future.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the top AI news. Groundbreaking advancements, massive investments, critical ethical considerations. We covered it all.
We saw how AI is impacting everything, from the news we read to the ads we see to how businesses operate and how governments provide services.
It's complex, it's fascinating, and it's crucial to stay informed.
Absolutely. We hope this has given you some insights and maybe even got you thinking about AI's role in the world.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay curious. Keep exploring the world of AI.